Orange Peel April Design. Hello everyone. Next up is the Some Bunny Carrots About You table topper for the April Cuties class. Our colors that I've chosen are a little bit different, but we are going to start with a new center block called the Orange Peel. And as you can see, it does look like carrots. That's the idea. That's why I'm sure they selected this one. So for the center, you are going to have 3 different colors of green. There are actually 2 bright light greens and then 1 darker green. And then a little bit of a peachy orange color to represent the carrots. The bunnies in this table topper will be white. The background is going to be a lavender color. And as you see from the sample, I really like ours much better than the sample they came up with. All right, so right now I have already stitched out the 3 orange peels and cut 2. So it looks like this. All right, and the quilting is super cute. Look at those carrots, really cute. So to do the center design, you will need the 4 squares that are 7.5 by 7.5. And then I backed them with the Pellon Shape Flex. Then you'll need a piece of batting, and the batting is 6 by 6. And you'll need 4 of each of those. In your kit, you should have these little ovals already cut out. And the colors that I selected, for the green, I have selected this green, and the number is 210, because I like that. It seemed to go well with all 3 of them. The peach color that I selected is this one, and that number is 169. Here, let me put that in so you can see it, 169. So when you load the design, you're going to load first the quilting, the carrot pattern for the quilting. And then you are going to load the orange peel and center them both in your square, and you're ready to begin embroidering. I used white as my quilting. I know it won't show up when I show you what I'm doing, but I wanted to finish these and get moving on this topper. Okay? All right, so I am going to start, and the first step, as you remember from the others if you've done them, is you're going to put in a placement line for the batting. So hit go, start your project, and attach the hoop. Just like that. Whoops. Run out of room this morning. Okay? And the white thread probably won't show up, but I think you'll get the idea. All right, here we go. Attach the hoop. And this is color number 1. And steps are similar to the deck cards. The pieces are different, that's all. Different shape. All right. Place the batting, centering it over that basting line. And stitch. Remember, the tack down line goes around twice. The placement line goes around once. All right. Then you are going to trim off that excess batting close to the edge. And for this one, for today, I'm going to take the hoop out of the machine, but not remove the fabric from the hoop. All right. Quickly cut it here so we can get moving. And I'm about ready to go out and buy some Easter candy. Yes, I love Peeps. I'm one of those crazy, crazy people that loves Peeps. Alrighty, now, one of the things I'm going to do is when I open up, and what I've done here is I've floated the hoop options right up here. Some of you remember that you can do that with Icon machine. So what I want to do now is this last one on the screen is the center design. So I'm going to tap that to center design, and now the needle just moved to the center of the hoop. The stitch didn't move, the needle did. So that when I fold the fabric in half one way, and then the other way to form the 4 quarters, as you see here, the center of the design right there, I don't know if you can see that, but the center is right here, goes right underneath that needle. And now I can be sure that it's centered on the placement line. And this is rather important because this measuring in this block is different from the other blocks that we did in the February one and the March. So now I am going to baste that in place. Actually, that's probably the tack down. And for some reason, it just does the top and the bottom. Oh, this is actually the placement line. I'm ahead of myself. Well, that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to skip to number 5. And instead of doing the tack down, I'm going to do the basting. I mean the quilting, rather. Now, this month, April and May both use the orange peel design. Alrighty, so now we're just quilting. super cute, those little carrots. So what you're looking for is KDQ 150 center carrot. And I put in the 5x7. There is also a 6x10. But I wanted to use my 240 by 150 hoop, and I knew the 6x10 wouldn't fit. Now, I'm not sure if there is a holiday quilting design for this topper. So, I'll have to check when we do that. All right, so now we're all done. And our next color is going to be the peach color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this a little bit out of the way. Sorry about that. I have my scissors there to snip the thread. And this design makes a little bit more sense, at least to me it did, to stitch out. So color number 2-1 is that outline. 2-2 is the tack down, and then 2-3 is the decorative stitch. So I'll go back to 2-1, and then let's see if I can move this up, way up. So now you should be able to see. There we go. Now remember, this is meant to be review, this video. We're actually going to do this either in store or on Zoom. Now, this little orange peel design is actually its own design. It's not a mirror image of it. So what I have to do is make sure that it is in properly. So what I do is, I'll show you here. I put the orange peel in the outline and double check that all of the edges line up. Because when I did this the first time, I had it on backwards. This point is different than this point. Then I am going to put my little ironing pad under here. I'm working on a smaller version for this hoop. And then I am going to press this like so. Now make sure when you press it that it stays within that outline. Very important. Alrighty. So if I wanted to, I could do the tack down line to make sure that it's correct, but I'm going to jump to the decorative stitch just to save time. And again, this is with that peach color. Let's make sure it's stitching. Alrighty, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to switch to the green thread for the next 3. That's why I say this goes fast. And sorry about my threading right in front of you. So let's take a look at the sequencing. So the sequencing, I really need 2 cameras and 2 stands, but not going to happen. This is very amateurish. So 2-4 is the outline for the next one. 2-7 is the outline for the third one. And 2-10 is the outline for the last one. So we're going to go to 2-4 first, and we're going to stitch that in. So, whoops. A little rough this morning. All right, here we go. Alrighty, then I am going to skip to 2-7. And do the next green. And then 2-10. That phone that you hear is my app telling me to go to the next color. So now I have all 3 in place. So what I want to make sure is that these are in the correct sequence. So I am going to set this down on my flatbed here. And this one has a little type of crosshatch plaid. It's not a plaid, but looks like crosshatch. And that goes here. This one is a green grunge, and that one goes there. Then the dark green goes in the back. I want to make sure I have them in the right sequence because it'll throw off our whole design if I don't. Alrighty, now I'm going to make sure that this is all set correctly. So I'm going to bring out my hoop. Make sure that, yeah, see, that one wasn't quite right. So I'm going to put, this was the original hoop pad that I made. This pattern is no longer in production, which is why I have to kind of make up my own. So I'm going to iron, actually, the little piece of fabric there, or right, that the little orange peel goes on top of. And then I'm going to hold the pad against the iron with my hand. I know you can't see that, but that's what I'm doing. Now, right here in the center, it gets pretty tight. Oh, my iron went off. Oh no. Which is why it didn't stick. All right, now I'll check and see which one is which. Now, there, that one goes like so. So you have to be careful when you line all these up that you don't build a thicker center. I did that on one of them and it kept giving me an error message. All right, I'm going to turn that one around. Okay, my little pressing iron's ready. So I'm putting my hand underneath. Let's see if I can show you what I'm doing. So I put the little pad underneath and I'm holding it like this. And I'm just pressing these in place. So now the new pad that I'm designing, the bottom, oops, see how I push that? You got to be careful. I got to just set that right down and press it. And we'll have that ironing fabric on the bottom. So I can take this out a little bit. Let me make sure I get that flat. So just put the iron on top and hold it down. Okay. Alrighty. Remember to take this out. And now what we're going to do is we are going to go back to the decorative stitches. So the decorative stitches again, remember, are, let's see, we all the way to the end. Let's go back to 2, 6. All right. So it's 2, 6, 2, 9, and 2, 12. All right, here we go. These are super cute. I like this one. I picked out the basket weave for the border, the inside border strips. Hoping that the new one will be coming in rather soon. The new bolt, that is. All right, now I'm going to jump to 2, 9. that's the decorative stitch, remember. Making sure that everything is correct with the previous ones. And then the last stitch in this sequence is 212. I see I have a few little threads there I need to trim. Almost mesmerizing to watch this machine stitch. Even all these years later, I still sit there and watch it, so it's amazing. All right. So I was talking about right here, there's a few little threads, so I just need to trim those out. And we're done. There we are. Next up, how to trim them to a 5.5 inch square. Well, now it's time to cut our blocks, now that they're all finished, into the 5.5 by 5.5 inch blocks according to the directions. One of the things that is a very good tip is to make sure you mark them with a water-soluble or heat-sensitive pen. I've already have my little friction pen out, and the reason we're going to mark them is because we have to make a really accurate cut. So to find the center, it would be simple, but we're not using the center as our guide. We want to measure 2 3/4 so that we can cut the design into the correct size. So here we go. All right, so what I did is, the way I did it may be a little bit different than what the book shows you, but it worked out. So I took my ruler and I want to use this mark right here, 2 3/4, and then follow down the whole ruler with the marks to align the orange peels. So what I did was I laid the 2 3/4 on the tips of the marks. So it looks like this. So as you can see, right here, it matches up at 2 3/4, and then right here it matches at 2 3/4. So what I'm going to do now is draw a line Whoops, just like that. Now, see, I have this lined up right here with the ruler. See, those two petals are sitting right on that 3-inch mark. However, my fabric is crooked. So what we want to do is we want to make sure this block is square. So there's my first mark. Then I'm going to turn it and do the same thing on the next side. I'm going to line up those 2 3/4 inch marks and mark it. Then turn it again, mark, align it with the marks on the ruler. And then turn it again. Then I'm going to check to make sure that this is a 5.5 inch square. Excuse me. I could cut that out if I knew how to do it in the video. I'm still very much the amateur. Excuse me. Okay, so when I put the ruler down and mark it, as you can see, it's a 5.5 inch square. Right there. I hope that makes sense. So now it's time to cut. So I'm just going to line it up, make sure my lines are straight, and cut. Okay, line it up. So you see I have the 5.5 inch mark right here on this blue line, cutting on this blue line. Need a new blade. And then 5.5. That one's off a little bit. I'm checking here to make sure my marks are right on the 5.5 inch mark. So I'm going to trim that too, because that's a little crooked. So, I don't know why. My hand probably slipped. Let me get this right. The ruler slipped. That's what it was. Okay, and then I'm going to turn this again and make sure it's on the 5.5. So everything is all lined up. And I'm done. Now, I haven't sewn this together, and the original shaping went, let's see if I can, went something like this. This was down like this. This was here. This was here. And then the last one that I haven't cut yet goes here. Now, I was wondering what it would look like if they were all aligned. So, I'm going to finish marking this one, and then I'm going to play with it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to line it up at, I'm going to use this inch side because it's a little bit easier to see the marks. You don't have to think about the math either. Okay, there's one. And then here's the other one. The idea is to have a 1/4 of an inch on each side of those little ovals. And there we go. And then the last one should be 5.5. and mark it. Now I'm going to turn my ruler around where the 1/2 inch markings are. And there we are, spot on. Okay, doke. And now we're ready to design the center the way we like it and then stitch it together. So as I said, the original design on the cover, one went down, the other went this way, this block went this way, and that's the shape. See, they're supposed to look like carrots. Do you think they look like carrots? So, I was going to see what it looked like if these all mirrored one another. Yeah, now I know why they didn't do it. I don't like that. But I had to see it first. So, this one goes this way. This one goes that way. And then this one goes this way. So I'm going to put my 1/4 inch foot on and sew these with a 1/4 inch foot and press them. And the center is done.